Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm here at Odessa Lake in Rocky Mountain National Park, and this is the Patagonia Ultralight down hoodie. I've had it for 3.5 years, and I'm going to tell you some stuff about it. Alright, so this is the jacket. It's a size medium. I usually wear medium in Patagonia, Arc'teryx, all those different products. I'm very much a medium. I do have a few shirts that are a size small, but generally medium is where I shoot for, and this jacket's perfect for that. It comes right on down to my wrists. It goes a little bit below my hips. Right here is going to be my waistline, so I got a couple inches there. A little bit longer in the back, and that makes it great for wearing a harness. However, I should say that these pockets are a little low if you're wearing a harness, so keep that in mind. Up here would be a little bit better for harnessing and all of that, but down here they're more for hands, and they're definitely warm and toasty, that's for sure. They're incredibly spacious. This is basically the size of the pocket. So this square right there is basically the pocket on each side. This one up here, the breast pocket's a little bit smaller. It's about that big, so a little bit bigger than like an iPhone 6. And these pockets are really toasty if you don't have any gloves on. The down is on the outside here, and on the inside it's just going to be that thin fabric that you find on the rest of the jacket and that stuff sack that it comes with. But even then, it's super warm. I do like wearing this thing without gloves, and like this kind of weather is perfect because my hands are super warm and toasty. All of these zippers are very, very smooth. I've never gotten a zipper stuck, which is pretty impressive considering that you have a couple of these little lips that'll pop out every now and then, and it's kind of a very loose jacket. Like you'll have the fabric kind of crumple over itself every now and then, and so I'm always impressed that I haven't had any zipper snags, and maybe that's because I'm being careful with it, or maybe they just designed it well to do that. These wrist cuffs down here are elastic. They do ventilate just a little bit. For the most part though, they kind of just cover your hands. If you really wanted to, you could stick some gloves inside of there, but it's not very comfortable when you do that. I usually just wear like a gauntlet that goes out past my wrist, and that works just fine. It'll tuck underneath there. Sometimes it'll push up just a little bit, but if you cinch down your gauntlet over that, you'll be fine. No problems, wind tight, and you'll definitely keep in some warmth in your hands for sure. So, like I was saying, I'm 5'10", about 160 pounds. This is the size medium. It is a little bit loose, but that's something I've seen in a lot of reviews that I've seen about this jacket online, is you'll see a lot of people saying it's so loose in the middle section, and that is true, but I don't see that really getting in the way. I can cinch it down here if I want, and this kind of gets a little bit puffy and it looks a little bit weird, and sometimes I'll get a big old wind gust and it looks like I've suddenly put on 80 pounds, but for the most part I'm warm, and I don't really care how I look, and it doesn't get in the way of my movement or it doesn't get snagged on anything. So as long as I'm warm and as long as I'm still, you know, fairly streamlined, I don't have a problem with that. So maybe if you're a little bit on the larger side, it'll be a little more tight, and if you're on the thinner side like me, it might be a little bit more loose, but that's kind of all I have to say about that. It's a very comfortable, good fitting jacket. It's not too loose and not too tight, so I can't complain there. I do have good movement around, you know, it does pull up just a little bit when I stretch, but if I'm wearing a harness or something, there's like a little it's the cinch cord basically, so it's kind of like a stretchy cord, and that usually catches on the harness, so I don't have any kind of problems with trying to stuff this thing back down underneath my waistband of the harness. But overall it fits very, very well. The hood is nice. I like it. It's by far the warmest hood of any thing I have, really. It's significantly warmer than my Atom LT, and it's way warmer than my beanies, and it's just great, and it fits well under a helmet. It does get compressed a little bit, so your head does get a little chilly if it's really cold outside, but I usually wear a beanie in that case, and that's not super comfortable or breathable, but it keeps me warm, so that's what matters. But the hood is incredibly warm when it's freezing and the wind's blowing and you're just cold and your ears are cold and they're turning red, and it's just not great. I can immediately feel my heat bouncing off of the inside of this hood, and that's a really cool feeling, and it kind of just gives you that little bit of motivation. I'm just going to keep going. I feel good about this. I feel warm. It helps your morale just a little bit. There's also a cinch cord down here that cinches down, so if it's real windy and you're walking into the wind, you can have this nice and tight over your head and it won't blow away. I have had it blow a couple of times off my head, but I was moving in like probably 70 or 80 mile an hour winds pushing up towards a summit. So that happens sometimes. It's kind of part of hiking up there. But it does a good job of resisting that. I mean, that's the wind blowing perfectly up and lifting it off of your head, the exact right angle. You're walking around on a trail, you're a little bit lower, or maybe you're getting hit from the sides, it'll hold up very well, so you're not going to really have to worry about it just flying off every single time you go out hiking. It just has to hit it just right in order for it to go. Let's talk about the fabric. So the fabric is pretty good. It's very, very light. I have torn through it a couple of times, setting like an ice axe on my shoulder, or just random little wears and tears of me just, you know, snagging up against something or slicing it, or just little tiny things. It doesn't happen a lot. It's only happened I think 3 or 4 times on it in the 3.5 years that I've had the jacket. But it repairs really quick and really easy, and when I have had those tears, I tended to it right away and there wasn't any feather leaking, which is great. And this fabric is great. It adheres really well to the tape that I use. I use Gear Aid tenacious tape, and it just sticks on there and nothing peels off. It's awesome for that. And I guess that goes to the adhesive that they use as well. So that's a good pairing if you get a tear in this jacket. Tenacious tape from Gear Aid on this fabric it's bomber. It's not going to go anywhere. It's great. Breathability is good. It's not as breathable as my Atom LT at all. I usually use this as an outer layer, a little bit as a mid layer, but mostly as an outer layer, just because it's so warm and it's incredibly wind resistant. And I just feel warmer in that than my Atom, for sure. But I also sweat a lot when I'm moving uphill. I work up a lot of moisture, and this doesn't wick the same way that works because it's not synthetic. And this is my cold weather, really, really windy, really, really dry, not going straight uphill working up a sweat piece. Or if I'm standing on top of something and I'm just kind of standing around, this is what I wear. Or if it's cooler in the late autumn or late summer and you get those cold Colorado nights when you're kind of sitting around at camp by the rivers blowing its cold air over, this is what I wear and I'm fine. So this is my cold, dry, windy jacket as opposed to my working myself up jacket. As far as these little seams, they don't leak feathers. I've had like two little tiny feathers that snuck through, and that's it. I had a Go Light jacket for a while, and that thing was a joke. It leaked feathers all the time. Like the day I got it, it started leaking feathers. Like the first day walking around my neighborhood, it was leaking feathers. Not the case with this jacket at all. These seams are great. The way they stitched everything, it's awesome. They don't leak. The only time I've ever had it leak was, like I said, when I tore through, and I fixed it right away, and there have been no problems since. So it's very good. In terms of, you know, snow and water repellency, I would not wear this thing if it's raining. It's going to soak through right away. You get those big fat spring flakes, those really wet ones, or even kind of early autumn flakes, and they'll kind of soak through just a little bit. So maybe you want to throw on a light shell or like a windbreaker or something to kind of, you know, make that extra layer there. But like snow, falls right on off, and we're pretty good there. So this is a pretty good jacket all around. I do really like it. It's so warm and it's so light. It's great for backpacking. I know there's lighter options out there, but you know, for what I do, this is perfect, and I can't complain about it. Patagonia has had a really good, has built up a great reputation, and I've definitely kind of really started sticking to a lot of their products because they're built so well, and I don't have any problems with them. I don't like having problems with my gear when I'm outside, and I definitely don't have any issues with this when I'm hiking. So the big things why people are purchasing this is because of the lightweight, because of the durability, because of the warmth, but also because of the compressibility. So this thing compresses down to the size of this little tiny stuff sack, and it can actually go a little bit smaller if you really push it down and squeeze it. You can get it down to about the size of like an orange or like a grapefruit, like a big orange or a grapefruit. And so I'll show you real quick how quick it compresses and kind of give you a little side comparison as well of the size. So here's a little stuff sack. I don't know how much it weighs, but don't let it go in a breeze because it's going to be gone forever. It weighs nothing. Should also say that this jacket dries out at a, I don't know, a normal rate. It's not super fast like my Atom, but it is down, so you definitely notice when it's wet because it's not as warm. And you kind of got to get it dried. In the stuff sack that is provided with the jacket, and I don't think this is a waterproof stuff sack. I've had it in some light drizzle and sitting around in snow, and the snow kind of melts a little bit and it'll kind of soak, but it doesn't seem to soak all the way through, or maybe I was just quick with it. The seams aren't taped or anything. It's not some, you know, high-class stuff sack, but it does what it needs to do, and it keeps my jacket in there, and it's great when I'm like packing because I can just squeeze everything down or put it in there. I usually don't use this if I'm hiking with my bag. I just stuff my jacket in there, which is probably how I've had a couple tears because I'm very careless with it. But if you are someone who likes to kind of keep everything in order and you like to have everything stuff sacked and kind of compartmentalized, then this is great for it. It's really small, and here it is for a size comparison next to a Platypus 1 liter. So about that big around. Like I was saying, if you really compress it, you can get it down to about the size of a grapefruit, or flatten it out to kind of like a small loaf of bread. But it's a good jacket all around, and it's kind of been like a friend to me over the years, man. It's kept me really warm, and it was one of the first big investments I ever really made, and it was a great investment for sure. So that's all I really have to say about this piece. You can find them online for different prices. I don't know what they're going for nowadays, but it's a great piece, and I have recommended it to a lot of people because I really do stand by this jacket. I love it. So yeah, that's about it. If you have any other questions or any concerns or anything that I can do to help you out with your purchasing process, feel free to let me know in the comments. Until then, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll be having a lot more videos coming out real soon. I'm going to start working on this and putting some effort into it. So I appreciate all of your guys' time. Thank you, and I hope this helped you out in making a decision. Have a good day.